Oh, here we go. It's doing something. The wrong one. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, we're good.
It's doing something.
Yep, we're streaming.
We did it. Thank you. All right. Thanks everyone for waiting. Had some technical difficulties and we were streaming to a different location, which is not what we wanted to be doing. So welcome. I see my face on there 3 times. Is it?
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't
I'm looking
know
on
why.
the stream. The stream has, you twice. Maybe you can remove yourself from the one below me. Like you can, well, now it changed to me on there twice.
Okay, so it must be showing speaker.
Yeah. Yep. So there's some kind of setting where you can like.
Let's see here. Sorry. So we are going through lots of technical difficulties here, trying to figure out how to do this. If anyone has tips, we are here for it. I still see everything that I see on the stream. It's not, oh, hey, look, now I see one of me at the top and Seth, you in the middle.
Yeah, that's.
So I think we'll go with this for now, if that works.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
And then we'll try and figure this out for next time. So
yeah,
thanks everyone.
Safe to say we're not the first people to have this pain point.
Yeah, I will say if you have tips for how to stream on YouTube, let us know. Right now we are using Zoom and we are.
What's happening is it's whoever's talking, it's switching in the top right on the stream, right? So it switches per user talking.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we could just keep that top right up there and then just get rid of the.
It's not letting me do that. It's only, let's see. Okay. Pin to first screen. No. I don't know. What do you think?
And what about that top right icon, the grid icon? What happens when you do that?
That's what put us both there. So on when I am looking at my Zoom, it just shows the 2 of us. But when I'm looking at the live stream, it is showing 2 of us and someone at top. Now it's just showing the speaker.
Well, here's an idea. What about the right window? Remove the right window altogether, and it might just show us in the top corner.
That's a good
without
call.
That. Yeah, just drag that out and then see what happens. That might fix it.
All right, we'll keep our fingers crossed here and learn what we're doing here.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we need right there.
Is it working?
Yeah, so now we got the VS Code full screen, and then we have alternating speakers in the top right. So I think we're good.
Excellent. Okay.
Cool.
All right, here we go.
First test passed.
This is not the test that we were supposed to be writing today. All right, but now I see what we're doing and we are going to go ahead and get started. So I guess what I'll start with is we're going to work on adding some tests. I think Nick Taylor had added React testing library in here for us. So we're going to be trying to implement that and use that today. I will go ahead and make things larger. So hopefully you should be able to see it now. So there are some tests already written and we can walk through those in a second. I think what we probably want to do is start by creating a new branch, right?
Can I say one thing first? Like for me coming into a code base let's just say I've never been in this code base before. I would first want to check package JSON just to see kind of like what is installed for testing and get an idea of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I did this earlier today, and I think React, like Expo Jest or something is in there. We can look through our dependencies in our dev dependencies, and we'll see. Let's see. So it looks like it's probably just going to be our dev dependencies, right? Because it's.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I was reading the chat.
Yeah, no problem. So we've got Jest native, which is, I guess, for React Native, and we've got our Jest types, and then we have Jest Expo. So it looks like to me that it's just like the React Native Expo version of what it needs for Jest, right?
Yeah, and so we're using Expo for this, and you can see here too, we have testing library. I like testing library. I think it makes things a little bit easier. It makes a little bit more sense for me. So I've been using that usually with Cypress when I'm in React land. And so here in React Native land, we are using Jest and testing library.
Yeah, and I've got the docs for testing library and Jest open. I'm still learning what the difference is and when to use what. It feels like to me that testing library extends Jest in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Do you know that offhand?
Yeah, it there are some commands that you can use that I think makes it a little bit more streamlined, makes it a little bit easier. Personally, like I said, I'm a fan of testing library, and I think that it does set you up to make tests that are meaningful for the user. So how is the user going to be using this?
Yep. And I've been doing this. Like I said, I'm new to testing, but I've been doing it the past like 2 months, which is why I was stoked about this stream. I was like, yeah, I can take some of this stuff I've learned and while it's fresh and still, provide some value. So, yeah, I like testing library a lot. I'm ready to write a test. We could maybe review the tests we have now first, maybe.
So right now the tests are set up in components. And so what we have here, you can see that there are some commands from testing library that are being used here. And so they're being imported, and then they just go ahead. The first test is just making sure that everything gets rendered correctly. And so to run this test, we can just run yarn test, and you can see as it walks through everything. Now, one of the things that was interesting yesterday, as I was going through this, two total, I have started running this on my new computer since the last time I wrote a test, and I have a MacBook Pro with an M1, and it wouldn't work at all. And so I had to go through and do a couple of things to get this set up in order for this to run. I'm trying to think of what the error was. I had it pulled up here, but now I am not sure where I put that. But anyway, if you are having that issue, it had to do with Rosetta 2 and Homebrew. And so I had to go and install those. Here we go. My error was no, that wasn't the error. I started with the error EM file, too many files open. And then I had to install Homebrew, but Homebrew wouldn't install. And so anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this link in the chat if anyone comes across that issue, because I had to walk through a couple of steps before I got this to be able to run at all.
Yep. Sounds about right for a new machine.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know, Seth, do you want to kind of walk through this test first and we can talk through what's happening here, or
yeah, let's go through this and from the top down, and it'll reveal some questions we might have about what's going on. And then of course we know there's like mocking and stubbing depending on whether you're calling an API or working with data. So that gets a little confusing, but let's just start from the top and see if we can read this test. Like we'll act like we're new devs coming into a code base.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you can see here, we have this edit screen happening, and we're just really looking to see if this renders. And you can see we've got some, first of all, I do want to say that I am new to writing tests in React Native. So this is all a little bit different for me too. So this is definitely a learning experience for both of us. But I think one of the things that I think is most important is that a test is readable, so you understand what's going on. And so you can see here, we are looking for, we're applying this to the edit screen info, which we've got right down here. We can walk through that or maybe split screen it.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Go to the
Yep.
import statements first, and let's just look at those.
Yeah.
Because, so like we know what line 1's doing, but line 2, like fire event, I'm assuming that's some kind of user click event or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then
exactly.
render is like, does this component actually show up?
Yeah, we want to
Right.
make sure. Mm-hmm.
And then we're bringing in 3. We're bringing in the component itself, and then I'm not sure what line 4 is doing.
Okay, so this is looking
Mocking the
at
browser or something.
You're looking at Expo web browser. So what I think is probably happening is that you can be running this in iOS, you can be running this in Android, or you could be running this in web browser. So
Right.
my guess there is that this test is specifically looking at what's run in the browser.
Got it. Makes sense. And that's what line 6 is doing. It's mocking. It's allowing us to mock the web browser. That's what line 6 kind of says.
That is what I am guessing as well.
Feels like, yeah. All right, so then we'll go even more basic and say like line 8, right? We're describing the test so we can better read it in the console, right?
Right, absolutely. This is what we're testing.
Yep. So then when you have like 50 tests, you can just say, oh, this is the edit screen info component or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, so then line 9, you can use it and you can use test, I think, right? I think there's 2 different ways you can do it. We're choosing it. I think I see it more often, but I think you can also write just test there.
Yeah, I've always used it, so yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, you have your describe, which is
yeah.
And then you come to the it block, which then you give it the test name, what you're looking for, which is usually an action verb. And then you jump into what you're doing.
So what's the I know the path on 10 is a constant, right? Why is that passed into edit screen info? Because it's a prop in on the right side, is that right?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that this is how you get it to render. And yeah, it's a prop over here. So that, again, this is my guess. This is different than the way that I would do this for a React app, but I think this is what we need to have for everything to be rendering properly.
Got it. And on the right side, where's path? I see that it's accepting a prop on line 9. Where's the path being used? Where's the prop being used down further?
I think it's probably being used in the stack navigator.
Okay, so it's not something that's used in the component code. It's something for Expo, you're saying?
Yeah, I believe that's true, but we should probably look that up, right?
Yeah, maybe do like a search on the right side, do a search for path, and let's just see if it shows up more than line 9. Okay, there we go. So how many others? 3 of them total, is that right?
Yeah, we just got these. Well, this is the TypeScript path.
Yep.
Is a string.
And so that's it right there. So it's being used, that prop on 24, which I'm not quite sure what that is, that mono text. I'd have to see that on the front end. But anyway, regardless, when we look at this test on line 11, I would question, what is that path doing?
On line 11 in this one here?
Test, yeah. Yeah, that's what brought this up for me. Is like, what is that path? Like, why are we passing that path in? And
let's see here.
But it looks like we're just displaying that path, right, on line 24 on the right side. So we just need that prop somehow, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. So I'm looking at testing library and I'm looking at their docs and they're talking about using it in the jsconfig.json
Mm-hmm.
to follow a path, but I see we don't have that there. So that is not something we're doing. Let me, oops, I think I lost that. Nope, that's not what we got. I lost our test. This one, right? Yep.
Yep. So let's just go, like, we'll make a note of that. Let's just keep going down the test and we can kind of decipher what's happening. And then the path might just reveal itself, what it actually is.
Yeah, sorry, I was typing in the chat. Drew asked if it was using Material UI. We're using React Native Paper here, which I think is similar to Material UI. I know some people don't like it, but I found that it's pretty easy to use. And so I like it a lot, especially for someone who's not super design focused. Okay, so let's see here. What were you saying, Seth? I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're on line like 13, right? So let's line 13. Can you make the left pane a little bit smaller? Great, thank you. So yeah, line 13 would be, now we're basically setting a bunch of constants and we're getting text. So and then on line 18 through 21, we're just saying the text need to be on the screen, essentially, right? To not be null.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty simple. We're just setting a bunch of variables to make the code cleaner and more readable. We're getting by text, and we're making sure that they exist on the screen when the component renders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and this is a pretty basic test. You know, you just want to make sure that it's there. But other tests, I think you really want to test the functionality. Is this clickable? Does it take you to the place that it needs to be, right? You want to be testing as a user would be testing or using your software.
Mm-hmm. What's below 22? Or is that the
This
end
is
of
a
the
next test.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we know that the first test
renders.
The first test renders it and displays the text, and the second test is what should load the help web page when the tap here text is tapped.
Yeah, and so this goes back to that fire event that you pointed out that we were importing from testing library. So fire event.press and then tap text, which you can see here. They label tap text. You want to always use this get by text. So if the user taps this, then this should happen next.
Yeah, it looks like it goes to, let's see, it does a call one time, and then it specifies the URL.
Yeah, and if we were doing this, you know, for sign in or something, you know, if you want to click sign up or sign in, if they click that button, if the user clicks that button, does it take them to the right screen next?
Nice. One thing I like about tests is you can also repeat them a lot. So when you have another thing like this, like I'm starting to explore, like, can I abstract common actions to then use them better across the test suite? And so this is a perfect example. This tap, I mean, you're basically just saying tap this link and go to the right route, the right URL. So at some point down the line, that this could possibly be abstracted to encompass all your links, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, making sure that everything's clicking and going to the right place.
Yeah, so far this test is basically it renders, it displays text, and a link works.
Yes.
Is there anything below 34, or is that the end?
That's it. Those are just two of the basic tests that we have.
Cool. It always feels good to see green early, you know, like get an easy test. And one thing I thought would be interesting to discuss, you know, real quick is this idea of test-driven development, where, like, my thought is, in an ideal world, and doesn't happen this way very often, but you would have all of your designs fully fleshed out. You'd have everything. All the stakeholders would say, here's what the app is doing. Here's a design. And then you as a developer or a team of developers could then talk to the designer and say, double check stuff and then say, okay, we know what's happening. And you could write your test first. And I guess TDD is like, get your test to fail and then write your UI to make it pass. So ideally you would have like, you'd know before you even write any code, you'd have all your tests written, and then you'd write code to make those reds green. But you and I both know that the mocks are never complete, and there's always stuff that they don't know. So it makes it difficult to do that. And so then you think, well, I'll just write the component and I'll test after the component. So I would be very curious to hear from the community at some point, or even talk deeper about test-driven development versus non-test-driven development. Because my brain goes with TDD, like that makes sense in my brain. But what are your thoughts on that?
For me, I've done a little bit of both, and I really like to, I think it's more efficient to not use test-driven development in many of the situations that I've been in. Because you are, like you said, you're making changes, things are shifting, or maybe you don't have all of the information that you need. And so you're writing these tests, and what ends up happening is, rather than writing the component to make the test pass, I'm more writing the test to make it pass, based on the new information. And at that point, it just seems like, what is the point of writing tests? And I think maybe that's just what it gets down to, because my point in writing tests is to be confident that my program works, that the code that I've written works. And so whether it happens before or after, it doesn't really make a difference. What it does is ensure that I can be confident and keep moving forward. And then once that test breaks, I know I've got to go back and I've got to check what's happening. I've got to see what I missed. Sometimes there are circumstances where you write a test and the test fails and you're like, well, there must be something wrong with the test. But really you look and say like, oh, actually, I missed this. I didn't realize that this was happening. And so again, I think it just depends on what you are using tests for. And for me, it's just having the confidence that what I have written is working and that other things aren't breaking that, and that can go out there. So
yeah, that makes sense. I was writing some tests on Protege for a feature. I wrote the feature or designed the feature first. And I realized that the test made me realize I've forgotten stuff. And it made me realize other parts of our code weren't working. So I don't know the answer to what's best. And I think it might be case by case, or based on your team or whatever. But the idea is, like you said, to reveal bugs in your UI and to assure that everything you've thought of, everything you've exhausted is being covered. And then when another developer comes in 2 months later and they change the UI, the test breaks, and then they realize, oh, I broke something. So
right, exactly. And yeah, so that's why for me, it's just usually faster for me to rate the test second and just to, make sure that I'm covered and that things are working.
Yeah, cool. You want to go over another test, maybe the styled text test?
I don't think I've looked at this one. Well, this is going to be easy.
Yeah, so we've got our import statements, which are pretty self-explanatory, and basically it just renders a component and gets text. So another solid, just basic beginner test. So that's good.
Yeah.
And so we've got two tests, but it says three tests, but two tests suite. Oh, okay. One of them had two tests and one of them has one. So that's three tests total. Okay. So cool. You want to try to pick a place in the UI to write, or do you want to maybe extend one of the ones that already exist?
I think it's probably most effective if we try our hand at writing a test for one of the screens.
Okay.
So I would say probably our home screen would be a good one to write a test for, right? Let's see what we got here. It's just our sign in and our sign up. We should make sure that renders, right?
Can you show this on the front end at all, or would that be too many windows to navigate?
I can try.
And if not, we can just look at the code and like talk out what's supposed to be happening.
Let me let me try and run this in, let's see, Expo Start. Run Expo Start here. Yeah, exactly, Drew. It can be difficult to write the test before the UI exists.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. In the ideal world, it would all be all set and it would exist. But I haven't worked with many teams where the UI is fully fleshed out, and it always seems to be in flux.
All right, let me see here. Or cut off my screen. A W for web. We're gonna run this in the web. It's definitely not optimized for the web right now, but I don't have the emulator installed on my computer right now. Oh, compiled with warnings. Why? All right, here we go. Let me grab this screen and move it over. Maybe. Where'd it go? I lost it.
Yeah, we might be.
Here we go. Can you see that?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So
That's huge.
So we just have two options here. Yeah, so we're going to want to check if it renders. We're going to want to check our text, and then we're going to want to then simulate our button clicks. So we could just start there with our test.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
And when we get to the button clicks, we'll figure out what's next.
Yeah, let's see how far we can get in the next about half an hour. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is create a folder for screens or for tests and screens. And so I've got 2 underscores. I think that is the right way to do it. Let's see.
Yeah, no, is that like just a preference thing, or we're going to run files in this folder requirement?
This is generally how I see it done. I'm not sure if that's because it's looking for that way of, if it's looking for that folder to run the test in. But this is definitely what I have seen before.
Yeah, I'm going to ask, does anybody know?
Okay, so we're going to write the one for home screen. And we are going to try and follow the conventions here. So we're going to do home screen dash test dot tsx. Nope, that's not dot. Okay, so we've got a test here. I'm going to move this over here. And actually, I'm going to borrow from one of the other tests.
Yep, your import statements.
Let's just copy
just the whole
this.
thing. Yeah, perfect.
And then we can go through and see if we can get this working.
Yep.
All right, so we definitely don't need this, but we do need to import the home
I guess the home
screen
screen component. Yeah.
Yeah. We need phone.
And I like putting it in the same folder as the components. I've seen people do a root test folder, and I like it being right there beside the component. Makes it easier.
Yeah, I think
you'll find it.
Too, again, it just depends on what you're using, how you're setting it up. We're just gonna go with this because it does make it easier, I think, to look through, especially for people who are interested in contributing.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
So does it need to be in curly brackets on line 3?
I don't think it needs to. Yeah, because it's not, let's see, how are we exporting? All right, now I always get this backwards. If you're exporting the default, do you need curly brackets around it?
Yeah, I
Curly
get that mixed up
braces?
too a lot. Um, I think it's right the way it is, and that error though.
I think this is coming from, let's see, my stack navigator. Okay, now let's see.
Yeah, what's the error specifically on the
So
left?
okay, we'll look over this. We've got um children's string. It's missing the following properties from the stack screen: props, root stack, param list. It's not found. Navigation in root. Okay, so maybe what we need to do is
We got to pass it a prop or something, and go to your other tests and see.
import those. Now, see, these other tests weren't screens. Oh, edit screen is styled, wasn't. So let's look at edit screen because I think that'll be closer.
Yeah, we're passing in path, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, and they're also mocking Expo web browser. So maybe
yeah, we should do that too,
we
because
want to
we're
do
going to
that
be
for,
clicking the
that's what
buttons.
we're looking
Yeah.
at. Okay.
So it's probably the path. I don't fully understand what that prop is being used for, but it looks like to me if we pass path equals path, we might be on the right, and mock whatever, or on line 10, say whatever path it is.
Yeah, you know what? I think this is a better one to go ahead and look through. Because we've got this describe here before its statement, which we don't have in the other one because we weren't looking at a screen.
Good point. Yeah. So we can start with that as a base.
And then we need to make sure, I always mess up the order. I need to write my friends and
Sit right
braces
there.
in. Okay, and so then we won't need this. Okay, eventually. No, you're right. We do the path here. Let's see. And then this, like this. And it says, oh wait, that's not what it path equals path. It says, no, we are being rejected.
So yeah,
Okay.
so the big question is just what is this path, right? Because if we don't know what it is, we're not going to know what we're copying and pasting or anything. So that is a little bit, if anybody on the chat knows that or has any ideas, let us know.
Oh, wait, here, first of all, we've got this wrong. We still have edit screen info in here. We need to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Stack screen props, root stack param list. Okay, so I'm going to look at, see if we can find this, how we're using it in the component. Okay, so we definitely see this in the home screen is using it. Is it using it? Oh, I've got the wrong one open. Okay, so we have this being imported from types. And we have the, okay, so this is, we're getting this error both times around. Maybe we don't need path here. Let's just cut that out for a second so we can go back to this error. Okay, so we've got these curly braces. It's missing the following properties from type stack screen.
Navigation and root. So go to the right side and see what the props are in the component. Are there?
Okay, so we're passing it navigation.
Yeah, navigation. There you go. Now we don't know what that is yet, but that's what it's saying. We need a prop essentially.
And so we probably should be defining navigation here.
So maybe on the right side, we'll figure out by scrolling down, we'll figure out what is navigation. Like I'm assuming it's just a URL.
Yeah, let's see. Navigation comes with, what are we using for navigation here? React navigation stack. So I wonder if we did a little bit of Googling here, if we can figure out what we need to be passing our test for navigation.
Okay.
So we definitely are missing what needs to be passed here. Whoops, let's see, let's do an equals. Okay, so the root is missing. And what root are we using? Types. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look up maybe testing React Native navigation and see what I can come up with. If you want to look around, Seth, and see if there is another way that we can be looking through this, we'll see what we've got here.
Yeah, let me look at the code here.
Okay, so I'm just gonna switch the screen real quick or add this over here. And this is React Native testing library and see what we've got going on here. Okay, so they're also using, wait, are we using Create Stack Navigator? Oh, go away. I want you to not be there. Okay. Make this a little bit bigger, see what we can see. We're using React Navigation. They're using Create Stack Navigator.
Yeah, they're using the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yep. I want to say that maybe a little bit of this has changed, but let's go ahead and see.
And this is React Native, so I'm a little bit like unfamiliar with this. So I'll go with you and chime in as
yeah, like I said, I've written a lot of tests for React, and doing this in React Native is definitely different. Okay, so let's see. They're passing navigation there. Now, where are they testing this?
Up a little bit.
Did I pass it up?
Right. Yeah. On opacity press, navigation.navigate.
Oh, okay. No, this is the component, right? And so we want to find where they're, here we go.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right. So they are importing navigation container from and the app navigator, but are they testing the app navigator? Yeah, this is what they're testing. Testing React navigation. Okay, what we really want to find is, this is not giving me what I want to find. Right, we want to figure out what we need to be passing navigation. Or maybe we're wrong. Maybe we don't need to be passing navigation anything there. Maybe what we're, excuse me, maybe our approach is wrong. So,
you know, maybe right here, setting up test environment, like.
Okay, so they're mocking there. Let's see. So they've just got, they're importing their drawer navigator. And then they've got their component. Huh. Well, maybe this is, you know, different than what we're doing, but
yeah.
Let's see what we've got going on here and if this would change anything. So if we describe, we're using the home screen component. We want to, oh, look, like you said, Seth, they have tests there instead of it.
Yes. So they're both the same, but I just noticed that a couple of days ago, like wondering what the difference was.
Okay. So
So,
They have const
okay,
component.
I found something here that I don't know, like what's the navigation doing, right? It's doing something, right? It's taking you to another URL, correct? Like sign in or sign up. That's the point.
Yeah.
I'm seeing one, they're just passing in a function to their navigation prop. And I'm not saying we do that,
Oh,
but it might just be a path,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
you
So
know?
how are they doing that?
Um, well, in our sense, it would be navigation and it would just be path. I don't know if that the one example I'm seeing, they have push as they have a prop navigation where they're passing in push, and push is a just function. I'm not saying we do that because we're not running a
Oh,
function, but we are running a URL, right? So I don't fully understand what navigation is doing, but it could just be just the route is what I'm getting
okay.
at.
It's saying it's oh, okay. The expected type comes from the property navigation, which is declared here on type intrinsic attributes and stack screen props. Root, stack, param, list, not found. Okay. So I feel like we're getting a little bit closer. Let's see here. Let me open this up and see.
So Nick said, ask if you could zoom in the browser some.
Yep. We can, let me, whoops, drop this link in the chat too. Sorry about that. Let me find this. Okay, so this test, a screen contains a button linking to the notifications. I wonder if we need to be wrapping our home screen component in the stack navigator.
Possible, yeah.
I wonder also if we should be looking at how to test React navigation, but this is telling us how to test React navigation. So, my screen went all crazy.
Yeah, so it seems that this is just a way to, like, this is a React Native specific thing, right? It's like it's the whole navigation system in React, and I've actually in React Native. And so maybe somebody in the chat can chime in and help, because I've never actually used React Native except for my little bit of time in this app. And this is probably the biggest hurdle we'll have on this particular test.
Here. Oh, okay. So you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and make this code a little bit bigger. Sorry. But so when we've got this going on here, right, it says the string is not not assignable to type, stack, navigation prop, root stack param list not found, which is what we've got going on up here. And so let's see. I wonder if we should. I wonder if it's not working because the component isn't set up right. I mean, that's certainly another option. You know, everybody working on this app is new to React Native. And so I think one of the things that we should always assume is, like we talked a little bit about earlier, maybe what we're doing, maybe what we currently have, we shouldn't assume that this is working the way that it should be working. And so when we're trying to navigate through this problem, really trying to start from there, like, okay, like you're doing, Seth, let's break down what we're looking at. what is this thing doing?
Yeah.
We are just trying to test that the home screen renders. That's it. So very,
Yep.
very basic here.
Yep.
And so our test component, let's see. What do we have there? It says it's postpartum. Well, it's helpful if you can spell it right.
Yeah. What does it say? Okay, it has that and then the 2 buttons. Yep. Okay.
Postpartum wellness. I think that if we can see that, at least we've got
And
something there.
I would call that like a header or something, just to be more explicit.
Yeah.
Or heading.
Heading, I think.
Yeah.
Because the header there it does say home at the top too.
Yep.
And then what we could also add like tests to make sure that those buttons are there. But for now, let's just try and get something working here, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we're back here. We've got this home screen. We're trying to see if it renders correctly. I don't think we're going to need this path. I'm just going to go ahead and comment it out. And then try and figure out what we need here for navigation.
Yeah. Can you remove that path prop there and then see if the error, because I want to read that error again, that type error.
It's required in the stack screen props.
Okay, so it looks like we need route as opposed to navigation, and the route is the path. So do that. Bring path back. Do what we were doing before in the other test. Bring path back, and then do route equals path.
Here?
Yeah, do route, and then put path in the curly braces. I don't know if it's going to work at all, but let's just see. Okay.
The expected type comes from property route, which is declared here on type.
Yeah, and then we saw a list of those, right, on the right side.
Yeah.
So if we hover over root stack param list in the beginning on the right, and then it should say like what.
Yeah, and they were all undefined, right?
Yeah, so this is like, not only are we in React Native, we're also in TypeScript, right? So it's another layer of, if this was just a React test without any of that stuff, it would be a little different than what we're doing now. So we're having to jump through what is the React Native approach and then what is the TypeScript approach kind of thing. So a little bit, once you get used to that, though, it's fine, right? You'll understand how to test navigation and you'll understand TypeScript more. But coming in as a new developer, these are the problems you might have initially.
Yeah, for sure. And again, TypeScript for me is really new too. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. I know, where's Kirk? Kirk, teach us TypeScript.
So Nick, if you're out there, you're asking a question. We're just trying to kind of wrap our head around the navigation aspect of this for React Native. And once we figure that out, we'll be able to just render or pass a simple test of component of text rendering.
Okay, so what they're doing is they're wrapping their drawer navigator, their drawer app navigator here with the navigation container. So they're pulling that from React navigation, right? And so we are.
Jesse has a suggestion on the chat.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, so Jesse wrote something and Nick said the wrong object is being passed into navigation. Yeah, so it does need to be. Okay. So Nick said the right side, the component itself is correct.
No.
He said it does need to be stacked screen props, root stack param list not found. And he said that the wrong object is being passed in navigation.
Okay.
So maybe it is navigation prop equals something, and we got to figure out what back to where we were. We got to figure out what we're passing in.
All right.
So any suggestions on this, Nick?
It does need to be stack screen props, root stack param list not found. So I wonder, should we be just wrapping this in that? So should we be trying to import this here? And that's the wrong path. So what is the path for that? I just wanted to automatically figure out the path.
Yeah, there's ways to do that.
No, I thought I had that set up. Let's see, where are our types? They're here. So how do I get to that? Do I need to go out one more? No, that's too far, right?
So Nick says, look in the code base what you pass into home screen, the app itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you finish that, in the component itself, which is what I was kind of saying before, like how is it being used? See, we're just passing in navigation, so we know that. We just got to figure out what navigation.
Wait a minute. Look though. Okay, so here we're passing in this object of navigation, and then we've got this colon here.
Yeah, which is TypeScript.
See, so do we need, I guess I hadn't thought about using testing while using TypeScript. So maybe that is part of the issue. The only place in the code base.
Yeah, so again, on the right side, he's probably looking at where's navigation even being used, right? So if we scroll down on the right side and look for navigation.
Here. Where? Here.
On the right, on the component, yeah, and look for navigation.
Help if I knew my
so it looks like it's only on 38. And I would do a quick test of the component to see where it's being used. It might only be in line 38. And if that's the case, right, just in the component itself, in the home screen component itself, do a quick search.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Navigation.
Yeah, and it's probably just 38.
45.
Or it's the same.
It's on the buttons, right? Yeah. Okay, and here are navigation options. Header null.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. So go back to the where it was being used on 38 and also in the sign up. So okay, so what we're doing here is we're just saying replace sign in on press. Oh, and it takes us to the sign in component.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we would need to, on the left side, I mean, I don't think we need a component there on the test itself. We don't need the component. Navigation.replace sign in. Yeah, so it's just, it feels like a URL is needed or something, which is where the path came from.
Yeah. Okay, wait, let me just open up these docs again just to see what they're doing here, because I think they're showing you the test here, navigation. Now let's see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what they're testing. They're testing the drawer app navigator. So they've got that. And that's not being passed anything. They have the name and the component. Now.
A little bit different than ours.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. We've got navigation.navigate for their home screen, which is essentially what we're doing, right? They're passing navigation here.
Exactly. They're saying navigate, we're saying replace.
If they're going to test their home. No, I don't see them testing home. That wouldn't make sense though, right? They have to test it somewhere.
So Nick is suggesting the Chrome DevTools debugger to see what gets passed to the home screen for navigation. I don't want to derail you on your thought process now, but it looks like, see, it looks like tab one
they're
stack
wrapping it in their navigator. And then they're looking at the screen.
Yeah, so tab one stack dot screen.
Did we pick the hard one to test?
Yeah, I think we did. I mean, I really don't think it's a hard one to test. I think it's just the initial setup of
getting this figured
React
out.
Native. That's what I'm seeing from it. So, but Nick has some comments in the chat box.
Okay.
He says it looks like, yeah, and I'm already a little confused because this is React Native, this tab one stack stuff.
Yeah, I think this is probably where I got held up before. It was the same thing, trying to figure out how to get the right things in here. What do we need to bring in for this to work? Because it's more than just looking at the component, right? It's what you are passing the component to get this working. Sorry, I was just trying to find if they were testing the home screen. And I don't think I saw them testing it other than in there. Okay, let me find that chat. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I don't have it in front of me. Let's see. Okay, based on that, you're wrapping it as well with tab one stack screen. Yeah, so let's see. To debug the app, I think maybe since we're using React Native Web, I'm not sure how.
You can probably just use a JS debugger.
Different one that I have run in the past.
Make that whole browser like as big as you can, and then we'll look at the debugger and just, I mean, what Nick posted is he probably got that from the debugger. So what he's posting here is basically what we're trying to find if we hit the debugger. So it may not be something we need to do because Nick already kind of provided us with what's there. I just don't know how to translate what Nick said into what we need to pass to navigation.
So params are undefined. The name is home screen. I just thought I'd try it out, see if that worked.
Yeah, type
navigation. Sorry, reading through this again, trying to see if this makes any sense to me. We're wrapping it as well in the tab one stack screen. Oh, okay. Let's see. Component. All right, let's take a look at the tab one stack screen. It's this one. Did I click the wrong thing? Yeah, I did. what am I looking here? Tab 1 stack.
So let's go back to the debugger, because Nick is just basically saying we just want to, maybe he didn't post what we were going to find in the debugger, but we're basically trying to figure out what's being passed.
Okay.
Yeah, go to the debugger and add a breakpoint in home screen TSX. So let's just go back to the browser.
Okay.
And go to the actual debugger. So not the components, but
all right, you have to walk me through this because I never use debugger.
Yeah, and I actually never used it until Nick.
I know, I watched Nick's thing. I was there for that, and I don't remember how to use debugger.
Yeah, let me see. I forget too. I'm gonna find it real quick.
Yeah, React Native does have in their own separate, actually, it's got to be called React Native Debugger, right? Let me put my sign. React Native Debugger. Let's see if I launch this, if I can use it.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. This is React Native Debugger. And yep, I think I'm using it right. It's waiting to connect. Okay, so this should be in sources. Here's sources, right? And we can create a breakpoint. How do we create a breakpoint?
Yeah. So well, we need, usually you do it in the file itself. So maybe the file system. Yeah. Does it show anything on the right there? Any code you can usually just like?
No, so maybe this is the issue and we need to be using React Native Debugger, but it is not connecting. So let's see.
Okay, file system. Okay, I'm going to try on my end here.
We're at 12 minutes after 11. Okay, so let's see. If we
it
look
says
at,
go to the sources tab in the debugger and press Command P, and then you look for the home screen. So let's try that. Go back to that, and we're in sources. Okay, you've already kind of done that. So Command P, and then home screen.
it's not letting me type.
Yeah.
Had enough of you.
Yeah.
You will not test me. Where's the, I need like the GIF for you shall not test.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Oh, it typed it and then it didn't. Home screen. Here we go.
Yeah, click that.
Maybe.
And
nope, it's still the same thing. Yeah, I think it's because, but you would think with React Native Web, I should be able to debug in the screen, but maybe that you can't.
Yeah, so you're right. So then there's a debugger specific to React Native. It sounds like in. But you know, as an encouragement, this is what happens in the beginning, right? This won't happen every other test, just when you first start, right? So once we figure all that out, it's all there for us to just be our foundation. And so we happen to be establishing that foundation now, which is throwing us a bunch of hurdles.
Yeah, I wonder, another option might be to go into GitHub and see who else is using the React navigation and see if there are any tests written there. So yeah, I'm thinking that's right. I think I do need to restart the app if I want to use the debugger. So let's try this. It's not gonna hurt. Oh, look, our test is failing still. Oh, I know that he says you cannot pass, okay?
Hot take,
I don't
but it's true though. I guess you look at the movie and you hear it.
Yeah, I wonder why they changed it.
Oh, in the book, was it shall?
Cannot in the book, and they change it to you shall not pass, right? I've got that.
Got it.
Run in the web browser. No, this is really going to bother me if we don't get a test written.
Yeah.
But, you know, like you said, once you get the first one written and figure out what needs to be added, then it'll be easier to.
Yeah. And I'm down with another stream later this week. If we want to get over this little hump, then we can jump back into another stream if you want.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. Let's see, my computer is going so slow to try and Google anything right now or to change anything. So
because you're streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have some kind of takeaways, you know, what to figure out. That's good.
For sure. We need to figure out what to pass it here, right? Let's see here. Let's give it, why don't we say, can we give it 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
And see if we can get anywhere with this.
Sure.
And then if not, we'll figure out what we need to be doing. So let's see here. I'm just gonna bring my screen over, maybe if it will let me. There we go. And I'm just trying to grab some things. It probably would also help if I didn't have a bunch of tabs open. So we already looked at those. Maybe if I'll open a couple more. Oh, here we go. This looks promising. How to mock rec navigation prop for unit test with TypeScript. Oh, that sounds like what we're doing.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It was almost 3 years ago, but
hey,
we'll see what we can get.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the component right there.
Okay, so they're using enzyme here.
Well, let's just see if we can get the concept.
Yeah.
Looks like they're doing.
It expects a navigation prop. It's the same problem. Let's see.
You can use the type any.
Oh, you're right. So this is kind of what you were saying, right?
Yeah, just function. I wasn't sure. Let's see. Hold on.
Oh, okay. And then it's just passing it props
passing and create test props, which is.
Oh.
Props is a type of an object. Its navigation is a function.
Okay, so it looks like he's saying that he had to mock his go back, his navigate, his set options. Oh, okay. And then.
Yeah, and then he's passing a function. So maybe this is what Nick was trying to get us to find. Like, if we were to go to the debugger, we'd probably see, oh, it's a, whatever. And apparently maybe it's a function that's being passed. Because what it's doing is it's navigating to another screen. So it's not like it doesn't seem like it's as simple as a anchor tag, right? It's the navigate React Native way of doing it, which makes me think it is a function.
Yeah. So
So
it's
then we
not
need to
letting me move
do,
this window out of the way.
so then we would say something like, we would need to create that little mock function and just pass that in. So, so path, you could just put like path equals just do just dot function, just dot fn. Yeah, there you go. And then just pass in path, just to see, what happens.
So we
Yeah, and
still got that going there. And if we are running it in the browser, where did it go? Is it? No, those are the docs. The docs. Okay, so let's see here. We should be up and running somewhere, right? W.
Yeah, Nick makes a good point. He says the TypeScript part is less important at the moment. You just want to know what the correct prop is. TypeScript is just letting you know what the shape of the prop should be. If it's like React testing library, you can run debug function to see what the component renders, even if it has the wrong prop. So that's another route we could take.
I'm still not able to get this to come up on React Native debugger.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to figure out how to do that next time. Let's just see.
Well, we can keep going now too. It's like if we want to just, if there's more to do, we'll keep going. Hit pretty print up there to give us a better.
Oh, nice.
There you go. All right, now we're in the home screen, right?
Are we?
No, I don't think we are. Yeah, we're not in the right file.
I don't know what this is doing. I mean, it says we're in the home screen, but there's nothing. No, this is just whatever they have going on here. We can look at this though. Okay, wait a minute. Home screen. Okay, we have home screen, but it is. Ooh. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, we've got an error. I wonder if it's our test that's causing the error.
I'm just reading some of these docs here, React Native docs, testing library docs.
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe we would get something here, like if we just, because you can see the components. So I would think that you would be able to, could not inspect element with ID of 29. All right, well. let's see. Just do a little bit more Googling. React Native navigation. I had that open somewhere else, but we'll just go back here. Okay, this one is from 2021. Let's see here. Testing a screen. This is what we want. Navigation. So they're also using navigation container. And then they're importing.
Are they? I don't even see that list anywhere down below. This might be later in the code or whatever.
But see, they're using a navigation container here. And where is this? So they use create stack navigator. Wait a minute. This is maybe what I need to go look for. Where am I using create stack navigator? We've got I'm just gonna do it here. See where we're using create stack navigator. All right, so we are using this in the bottom tab navigator. And let's see, what are they doing here?
Can you paste that link right there into the chat?
Yes. If I can find the chat.
Yeah.
Trying to. Here we go. Okay, so they have Stack Navigator here. And then to test it, navigation container. So they do have a navigation container.
Yeah, but he's not using it in that little code block that I see.
So he's using it to test the screen, right? He's importing it here. Yeah, you're right. It's not in that import.
Yeah, and it might be later down. Yeah, it looks like it's, yes, he's using it later, like when you scroll down a little bit.
Oh, look. Okay, so he is using, but he used push and then navigates on button. So just dot function.
Yeah,
so that's what he used.
Yeah. But I'm noticing there's double curlies around that navigation.
Oh my goodness. What if it was this the whole time? What if we just needed double curlies?
Yeah, we'll see.
Path does not exist. Okay. So he's
so I mean, if we're going to use that, the navigation container, like it's being used later down.
Whoa. Okay, wait. So he has navigation dot push screen 2. What do we have here? Where is?
Yeah, we have navigation dot replace. So it's just a routing thing. We're replacing the route as opposed to pushing, right? Which would replace the history, I think. Something like that. So
I mean, do we need to change? You said it's replace?
No. In the actual component, it's navigation dot replace, or right there on 45 and 30.
Right.
So that's just a routing thing. It's like there's a difference between replace and push, I'm assuming. So we don't really need to, it doesn't matter on the left side. What I'm saying is that we're either passing in it's like the things we're seeing as there's a function that's doing something, there's potentially a URL, or there's a component. And so we just haven't figured out what navigation wants. And so
okay. So this is just what I'm trying to get at here. So here in his screen one,
Mhm.
he has a button just like we do.
Yep.
And on press, we've got
Yep.
this function that's navigation dot push to
Yep.
screen 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so then in his stack, when he's creating the stack, this is, I think, maybe where things are getting.
Yep.
So he's wrapping it in the navigation container. No, he's not.
He's not. The next block of code down, and that's that screen you're at.
So
right
we're
there.
almost doing the exact same thing though, right? Because we have a button, we have navigation just like he has.
Mm-hmm.
And here he uses push just like he has up in his screen one. So we have push and then just dot function, right? We're mocking that.
Mm-hmm.
We've get by text. They're using render in the same way we are.
Yeah.
Ours is called home screen. We're trying to pass it navigation in the same way that they are there.
Yeah.
And it's not working. So at least I feel like we are not too far off because what's written here is kind of close to what we've been doing.
Yeah, we're definitely on the right path. You know, we got to bring in fire event. Yep. You can even bring in, if you go on the browser on the right where you are and you scroll up a little bit, you'll see, or scroll down, whichever way, you'll see the next block of code. He starts using some of the things he's importing. Like right there. You see the little dot. So he's already, the dot is the code right above it, right? And so now we're in the navigation container in the wait for. So I just wanted to mention that because the import statements. Yeah, exactly. So
we don't need that. We shouldn't need that. Navigation prop reference. This seems like maybe what will explain what we should be doing here.
Yes.
So let's grab that. Okay, navigate, go to another screen. It figures out the action that it needs to take.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that, I mean, it seems like we are passing in an action here, right?
Yeah, it looks like we're passing in a function that.
And then replace the current route with a new one.
Yep, and that's what I was saying. Replace versus push is different. Like replace just replaces it in the history, and push adds it to the history. So we don't need to worry about replace and push. That's kind of like doesn't matter in what we're doing right now.
I mean, I wonder if it does, only because are we passing it the right thing?
Well, to me, it feels like replace and push is just a router level stuff, and it doesn't matter. It feels like it's passing it the exact same thing. It's just doing something different in the routing. Right. So what is being passed is the exact same. It's just, is it going to replace the route or add it to this route stack? That's what I'm taking from that. So it feels like we need, let's see, replace just dot function.
I wonder if the issue is, okay. Jest.mock is not assignable to the type stack navigation prop. I think, like, for me, it's missing the following. There's just so much there.
Yeah. I'm going to read this URL you sent a little more intently here. Give me a second.
Which is declared here on the intrinsic attributes and stack screens not found. Okay, so why are we passing that not found? That is maybe the question here. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Their screen one over here and see if we can get some things going.
Yeah, I feel like we're doing, I mean, this thing we're looking at right now is exactly what we're doing. And it seems to me we're passing everything correctly. but
so I wonder now, I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time again since I've also been in this code base. But we've got that screen one. Where are they wrapping that screen wrap? See. They're just passing. All right, I'm just gonna try this out. See if this breaks something.
yeah, I understand. Yep.
Let's see. Reading object types in TS can be completely overwhelming. Yes. True. Return type annotation implicitly has any return type. Okay. No quick fixes. Somebody give me the quick fix for that. There's got to be a quick fix here, right?
You're doing that.
Oh, maybe I broke a where my brackets are. Yeah.
Yeah, and just make that a paren, I guess, or not. I guess not.
All right, let's see. Let's trace this all the way back up. Okay, that's there. But its value is never read. Okay, I screwed up something. Oh, export const. Here we go.
Yep.
And then equals. I need that. Now navigation.
So const, yeah, you need to do, yeah, it looks good.
Well, I need an any. How do you make a type of any?
Well, I think you do colon and then any, right?
Is that here?
After yeah, I don't know. I don't do TypeScript. It's on my list, but
There we go. Did something.
okay. Okay, so
Hey,
then
look, it's not making any.
yeah, so it's definitely it was a
Wait.
TypeScript thing where it was yeah, there you go.
Oh, this should say
To have been called with screen one, is that right? No, sign in or whatever. What
yeah.
Okay, so let's now review. Let's go to the failing test and see what it says in the terminal. Okay, so
where do I I'm dividing something. It's useful not to divide. Import home screen. Oh wait, did I break this? Oh no, I failed.
No. But where are we? Let's see.
Type is invalid. Expected a string.
Okay.
But undefined. You forgot to export your. Wait a minute, because I changed this from default. So now you're right. I need the curly braces.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not.
Yep. All right, now let's see what it says.
Unable to find an element.
Get by text. Okay, so let's.
Okay, where is it? Where is it? Sign dash. There's a dash.
There we go.
Somewhere.
Nice. Dash. And that's the component though. To have been called with, isn't that the component itself? So we don't need a dash on that, I don't think.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yep.
So that what we need to be looking for here is what we're replacing with. So we're replacing with sign in. Oh, except I made some kind of weird looking A. I don't even know how to do that.
That should do it. There you go.
What? We made a test that passes. But
okay,
also now we have to go back and figure out what is happening here. So here's the issue, okay? Whatever we have here, the stack screen props in the root stack param list. So it's looking for this. This was the type, I guess, that we were trying to pass here. And so it wasn't working because we weren't passing the right thing here. So I do think that it ended up being a TypeScript issue that we had here with this stack screen props. So now what I need to go back and do is walk through what exactly is the stack screen props doing here and what the importance of it is, because we kind of did this backwards, and this is not how you would write your test and make sure that you are doing your software in a way that gives you confidence. But this was more of, let's figure out how this kind of works as we navigate through writing this test. So
exactly. Like this is not how you would make your test pass, like you said. We're just trying to figure out what's happening.
Don't do this.
But it's good because now we know specifically where the issue is. We can focus in on, okay, what's happening with this TypeScript thing, what type is it, and how do we get that type in the test?
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big one, because I don't know. This Kirk saying whatever you were passing in didn't match the shape that it was expected. So yeah, cool. So I mean, I'll keep going if you want. I mean, we might want to stop at maybe 12.
I do have to jump off. I'm doing a Twitter space at noon. So cool. I want to grab something to eat real quick, but I think this is a good place to leave off, because we know what the problem was. And so now we can do some investigation of that problem. And then next time come back and maybe do a walkthrough of like, okay, this is what these things we're doing, and this is how we need to be writing this test, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds great. I consider this a successful session just to get where we are and to know the problem.
Yeah, for sure. And for two people who are learning as we go along, 100%, it's been a learning experience. We tried to walk through, we tried to ask questions, even when we didn't know what questions we should be asking. And so, at the very core of it, this is what coding's about, right? Like being able to ask questions and to talk to each other and to do it for an hour and 40 minutes while people watched,
Exactly. And when you come into a new stack, this happens, but then after a week or two or whatever, you don't have this problem anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Because you know what the stack is and how things are set up. So I think it's very normal. What we went through is very normal. And whatever you can say, inheriting a code base or whatever.
Yeah. And I would say, like, neither of us work with React Native primarily. Neither of us work with TypeScript very much at all. Exactly. So there's like a lot of different things to try and work through. So we got there eventually. And now we're ready to do it next time.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Seth.
Yes. Thank you, Becca. Look forward to the next one. Just we'll stay in touch and jump back on at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And not take so long this time. So next time we'll remember.